Dear honored guests, in light of our current reality, please note if during the ceremony there's a security alarm, please do not get up or run. Rather, now just before we officially begin the Masa Memorial Ceremony for Israel's fallen soldiers and victims of terrorism, we shall stand together at the memorial siren will blare throughout Israel at precisely 8 o'clock. You are invited to join as we stand in silence for 1 minute in memory of the fallen alongside the rest of the country.
המשמר יעבור לדום, משמר דום, המשמר יחטיף נשקו, אחטף שק.
Please stand. We ask that you please remain standing. Gali and Ziv Berman are twin brothers who do everything together. Known amongst their friends for their charisma and charm, their magnetic energy is palpable in any room they enter. On the morning of October 7th, Gali and Ziv were both taken hostage from their home in Kibbutz Kfar Aza. Noah Reuveni, Masa Israel Teaching Fellow Coordinator in Netanya, grew up in the Gaza envelope and is a close friend of theirs. While grieving the loss of many friends that were murdered during the October 7th massacre, she prays for the safe return of Gali and Ziv. To lower the flag to half-mast, I would like to invite Noah Reuveni with a soldier from the ceremonial guard. Please, you may be seated.
משמר ימינה פנה. משמר קדימה צד. שמאל ימין שמאל. 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 שמאל ימין שמאל.
רצית לעוף, רצית כבר עם חצי חיוך, עלית למעלה, מיליון כוכבים בשמיים תופסים את הצבע שלך בעיניים, תן רק עוד שנייה אחת לומר לך שלום.
Eli was the epitome of a mensch. Following his passing, countless stories emerged. It was the Shavuot before Eli's tragic death. He stepped into a store to buy a pair of shoes. While waiting to pay, he witnessed a man struggling with his credit card. Without hesitation, Eli offered to cover the cost of the man's shoes. This story encapsulates Eli's essence. Eli's actions reflected his innate connection with people and his willingness to go above and beyond unconditionally.
My dear Rebecca, from the first time I met you at Havonim Dor, when you were just 7, until our last moments together, your positivity and hope for the future always shone bright. You followed your heart by making Aliyah, building a new life, and becoming an officer. After October 7th, you immediately volunteered in the reserves. Now, you rest on Har Herzl, surrounded by Jewish leaders. I'm so grateful to stand here today and honor your beautiful soul. I love you, Beck.
I met Gal while working at a sleepaway camp in Pennsylvania. His infectious joy and knack for making others smile defined him. I miss our late-night laughs, our talks behind the bunks, and most of all, the light Gal brought wherever he went. On October 7th, in the midst of it all, I got a text from Gal assuring me that I would be okay. It pains me to stand here today, longing for Gal to be the one who would truly be okay.
Andrei was a natural leader, guiding Russian-speaking Olim with wisdom and care. His journey to Israel was marked by courage and service, from the Sela program to the army, and later the police force. His bravery shone brightly on October 7, when he confronted terrorists at the Nova Music Festival, saving countless lives before making the ultimate sacrifice. Andrei's absent lives a void impossible to fill.
When Ezra embarked on his gap year at Yeshivat Ashreinu in Israel, he didn't anticipate changing the world. Yet, everyone he touched, from his school in Boston to Camp Yavne, felt his uplifting presence. His smile illuminated rooms, his kind words brightened days, and his vibrant personality lit up the world. Tragically, on November 19, 2015, Ezra was murdered by a terrorist. Ezra's passion for baseball, friendship, and Judaism continued to inspire. The day he was killed, Ezra and I discussed his aspirations to complete the entire Tanakh. A week later, 2,500 Masa Fellows gathered to finish it together in his honor. May Ezra's legacy be a blessing for all of us.
footsteps will always fall here along the greenest hills. Your candles burned out long before your legend ever will. תן רק עוד שנייה אחת לומר לך שלום.
Erev Tov, good evening. My name is Lidar Gravelazi, and I will be your host for this year's ceremony. Welcome, honored guests, bereaved families, Masa Fellows and alumni, and all those gathered with us today from around the world. Representatives of the government of Israel, the Jewish Agency for Israel, Keren Hayesod UIA, Jewish Federations of North America, IDF soldiers, Jewish delegations, and Masa Israel Journey. As we do each year, the Jewish people in Israel and around the world come together to commemorate the Memorial Day for the fallen soldiers of the wars of Israel and victims of acts of terrorism. Here, in the fields of the Ayalon Valley, fierce battles have taken place since the dawn of history. From the days of Yoshua ben Nun, who defeated the Canaanites throughout the wars of Judah Maccabi against the Seleucid Empire forces, the battles for Jerusalem during the War of Independence in 1948 and the Six-Day War in 1967, when this site and the entire area were captured by the IDF. Tonight, we are at Yad LaShiryon, the Armored Corps Memorial, commemorating 5,098 warriors who sacrificed their lives in battles defending the State of Israel. While Yom HaZikaron is always a poignant day for Israel and the global Jewish community, this year carries even greater weight. On October 7th at 6:30 in the morning, the world as we knew it changed forever. As we gather for tonight's ceremony organized by Masa Israel Journey, let us remember that we are one nation, one people, united in our shared sense of loss and our resilience to rebuild, all while holding on to hope. Yet in the aftermath, amidst the waves of fear and uncertainty, a remarkable unity swept through the citizens and soldiers of Israel and global Jewish communities alike. It is this unity, this resilience that defines us as the Jewish people. Together, we bear witness to our collective sorrow, mourning the losses suffered, yet finding comfort in our shared connection and unwavering determination to carry on. Tonight, we will hear some of these stories. In our reflections this evening, we also hold in our thoughts the 132 hostages now enduring 219 days in captivity at the hands of Hamas. Among them, a cherished member of the Masa community, Andrei Kozalov. Andrei Kozalov came to Israel from Russia 2 years ago on a Masa career program where he spent his time as a fellow interning at Site AI, a high-tech company in Tel Aviv, after which he made Aliyah. Amongst coworkers and friends, Andrei is known for his infectious smile and ambition. On October 7th, Andrei was working as a security guard at the Nova Festival. For 3 weeks, Andrei was considered missing until he was finally declared kidnapped. Andrei reminds us that the battle for the release of the hostages isn't over. And like this single empty yellow chair, there are many more chairs waiting for the safe return home of all the hostages. We will now read the prayer for the well-being and safe release of the hostages. אחינו כל בית ישראל הנתונים בצרה ובשביה, העומדים בין בים ובין ביבשה, המקום ירחם עליהם, ויוציאם מצרה לרווחה, ומאפלה לאורה, ומשעבוד לגאולה. השתה בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו, אמן. On October 7th, many families spent hours in their safe rooms, terrorized and petrified, unable to leave or understand what was going on outside their doors. Dr. Daniel Levy, may his memory be a blessing. A young and talented physician from Soroka Hospital who made Aliyah from Peru, left his family to provide care for the injured at Kibbutz Be'eri. He was murdered on that day. Exactly 6 months earlier, on Friday, April 7th, 2023, at the height of Ramadan and Passover, Palestinian terrorists opened fire on the vehicle of the Dee family in the Jordan Valley, taking the lives of Lucy Dee and her 2 daughters, Maya and Rina. May their memories be a blessing. Please note that in the upcoming videos, there will be some recordings of sirens. There will be a note on the screen to signify when a siren recording will be played. Now, these are the stories of the Levy and Dee families.
דניאל ואני הכרנו בטינדר. הוא רשם שהוא מפרו ושהוא רופא. מה צריך יותר מזה?
Él cuando era chico en el colegio, siempre ayudaba a los demás, siempre. Si había que ayudar con las tareas, si había algún consejo, siempre estaba para todos y para todo. Entonces yo siempre le decía, papi, tú has nacido para ser doctor.
En Perú somos bien unidos con Israel porque vamos al colegio judío, porque vamos a la Noar Atzioni, Dani además era Madrid.
Cuando me dijo que se venía a Israel no me sorprendió, al contrario.
כשאני הכרתי אותו, הוא בדיוק היה בסוף העבודה באיכילוב, בתורנויות האחרונות באיכילוב, הוא עבד שם במיון, ולקראת הגיוס. הוא היה רופא צבאי בבח נחל, אבל נכנסנו להיריון באמת אחרי חצי שנה.
הוא חיפש התמחות, והדרך עם סורוקה היא התקדמה הכי מהר. ככה הגענו לבאר שבע. ואז, כעבור שנתיים בערך, הוא קיבל הצעה מקיבוץ בארי להיות כונן שם. אנחנו הלכנו לראות ואנחנו התאהבנו. במקום, באנשים, בחיים. זה חיים אחרים. זו אוכלוסייה מדהימה, שעד היום אני מרגישה שזו משפחה שלי.
אירוע שאני לא זוכר כדוגמתו ובחומרתו בכל השנים שאני משדר כאן. מחבלים נמצאים על אופנועים, בכל הקיבוץ הם פזורים, הם מספרים לי התושבים שהם פשוט מתחבאים.
אני התעוררתי מרעש מאוד חזק, שזה בדיעבד 1,000 טילים שנורו למרכז. ההתקלות הראשונה הייתה ממש מאחורי הבית שלנו. אני נעלתי את הדלת, כי הבנתי שיש מחבלים. אמרתי, אוקיי, זה כבר לא עניין של טילים, ואז בשעה 7:32 התקשרו לדניאל מהמרפאה. אתה חייב לבוא, יש פצועים.
אני שכבתי פה, והם בעצם, דניאל באיזשהו שלב מגיע, וביחד עם עמית וביחד עם נירית, מנסים לעצור דימום מאוד כבד שהיה. אני זוכר את דניאל ככה מעליי, רגוע, משרה עליי, רוגע, כאילו שהוא שם, אז יהיה בסדר. חוץ מזה שזה נתן לי ממש ביטחון שיש לידי רופא. היה בזה משהו מאוד מאוד מרגיע ומנחם, שהמצב...
שאתה תהיה בסדר.
כן, כן, שאני יוצא מזה, שלא לדאוג.
בשעה 1:50. הוא כתב לי שהוא אוהב אותי, שהם תחת אש, ושהוא מקווה לצאת מזה. ואני עניתי לו, ואז הוא ענה לי, ועניתי לו, ואז הוא כבר לא ענה לי.
Daniel está en mi vida, en mi cerebro y en mi corazón. No hay un minuto del día que yo no esté pendiente de mi hijo.
Yo todavía no me lo creo. No es algo que lo tengo asumido. Y todos los días me levanto con ese golpe y tengo que buscar consuelos.
חסר לי בשיתוף. חסר לי הבוקר טוב שלו, הלילה טוב. הכל, המגע שלו. רוצה שהם יגדלו תחת המורשת המאוד מאוד מפוארת שלו. איזה ילדים יכולים לספר את זה על אבא שלהם? שהציל חיים עד הדקה האחרונה שהוא חי, ושהוא שילם בחייו. הוא היה בן אדם יוצא דופן.
Growing up with four sisters, I was always the youngest child and I was a boy.
I remember that like sometimes we would all like dress up and put on nail polish, and Yoda would be really young and he would also want to join in, so we'd paint his nails like with black nail polish and dress him up.
I am putting stickers on so everyone can receive right from pantry buckets.
Okay, Charlie, what are you doing?
I'm standing so they know what time we've made this.
Okay, look, Maya, what are you doing?
I am putting on the 2000 sticker so they know that we made this. Daddy, I don't have any space.
And what are you doing, Rena?
I'm putting the bike into
We came to Israel 2004. It was the end of the Second Intifada. We were afraid when we arrived because of what we'd heard on the BBC. But of course, when we arrived here, we realized it was completely different to what we'd seen, and actually felt very safe. The house was full of girls. We had 4 girls and my son, and each of them would bring 5 or 10 kids home often on a Shabbat, so it was just bustling. There were different rooms that were packed with different groups, and some were sitting outside in the summer, and there was tremendous hum of talking around. Only 2 days before, we were celebrating Seder night, Lucy and myself, the 5 kids, and my parents.
There's a lot leading up to Pesach. It's a chag that we usually spend as a family, the 7 of us, or sometimes with the addition of our grandparents. We always fill out forms that, like for every part of the Seder, that we have something personal to write about. And I remember one thing that we had to fill out on one of the forms was 3 things that we can't live without. And all of us wrote down the family.
This was really one of the most pleasant evenings we've ever had, and everyone was participating. There was a tremendous feeling of joy around the table. Friday morning, the first day of commemorated Pesach, we were setting off from Efrat to Tiberias. We drove in 2 cars, my wife with Myra and Rena, and I was with Tali and Yehuda.
Rena and Maya Dee were shot dead in the West Bank on their way to a family holiday in Lake Galilee. They were in the car with their mother, Lucy, when Palestinian terrorists opened fire and forced their car off the road. Lucy was airlifted to hospital outside Jerusalem, but died 3 days later.
And we get to the place and we wait there for a long time. And eventually they come out with Maya's ID card in their hand. And yeah.
And we knew that Lucy had been flown over to Ein-Kerem Hospital, so we immediately got into the car and we drove straight back to Jerusalem.
The whole drive there, I was on the adrenaline and like just calling people and just updating them everything that was happening. And just when I got there, I let myself actually understand, like, whoa, this is happening to us, and I couldn't stand on my feet anymore.
And we spent 4 days there until she was declared dead.
In the beginning, it was really hard because just as we were like burying our sisters, so we had to go straight back to the hospital. I had so much hope and I felt like, okay, I've already lost 2 sisters. There's no way that I can lose my mother as well. And then 2 days later, we were back.
Even when I come back from school and they're not waiting for you, like you don't have any food, you don't have your mum there to talk to you about your day, or you don't have your sisters there to talk to about your life, about your friends.
Sometimes, like, I would rather just pretend, like, if I'm not home, so they're home waiting for me, and, like, just live in the fantasy world that, like, it didn't happen to me, and, like, one day I'll just wake up and it was just a bad dream. For me, it's still hard to say that we're a family of 4, because for me, we'll always be a family of 7. I think we're not really whole anymore. There'll always be, like, a hole in my heart.
The night of the tragedy, the Friday night, I tried to sleep, and every time I fell asleep, I had a nightmare about what the moment of the attack was like. And I woke up and I realized my reality was worse than my nightmare. And I thought, I'm going to focus on the good things in my life. I focused on Karen and Tali and Yehuda, and I realized at that moment that the only way I'm going to get through this is to focus on the good and not to think about the bad.
משמר, קדימה, צעד. שמאל, ימין, שמאל. 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 משמר יפנה לימין. ימינה, נה. המשמר יציג את נשקו. הצג, שק. משמר יעבור לנוח, מאוד נוח.
When the surprise attack began on October 7th, soldiers of the Kfil Brigade arrived at Kibbutz Kerem Shalom, where they battled against dozens of armed terrorists. Among the soldiers was Natan Hailier. May his memory be a blessing. After making Aliyah from France, Natan began as a student at the Gur Ariyah Yeshiva. He was known as a sweet young man with a constant smile, a gifted musician, and the mascot of his class. Natan enlisted in the Kfil Brigade, began his commander's training, and on October 7th was sent with the other trainees to defend the Gaza envelope. Natan single-handedly rescued over 100 people from the kibbutz. During one of the battles while defending his unit and civilians, he was hit by shrapnel and killed. In March, the Netanya municipality held a ceremony to dedicate his beloved piano to the community in honor of his memory, ensuring that his music will always be heard. I would now like to invite Pascal Nessim and Letitia Sarah, Natan Liel's parents, to light a torch in his memory.
משמר יעבור לדום. משמר, דום. משמר יחטיף את נשקו. החטף, שק. משמר ידגל את נשקו. דגל, שק. המשמר יחטיף את נשקו. החטף, שק. משמר יציג את נשקו. הצג, שק. משמר יעבור לנוח, מאוד נוח.
Each year, we read the prayer Iskol in memory of the fallen soldiers and victims of terrorism. Rafi Nasser, president of the Keren HaYesod campaign in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and member of the Keren HaYesod's World Board of Trustees, will read Iskol. We invite you to stand for the reading of Iskol.
המשמר יעבור לדום. משמר, דום.
יזכור עם ישראל את בניו ובנותיו הנאמנים והאמיצים, חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל, וכל לוחמי המחתרות והתיבות הלוחמים במערכות העם, ואנשי קהילות המודיעין, הביטחון, המשטרה ושירות בתי הסוהר, אשר חפו נפשם במלחמה על תקומת ישראל, וכל מי שנרצחו בארץ ומחוצה לה בידי מרצחים מארגוני הטרור, יזכור ישראל ויתברך בזרעו ויבל על זיו העלומים, וחמדת הגבורה וקדושת הרצון ומסירות הנפש של הנרצחים במערכה הכבדה יהיו חללי מערכות ישראל עטורי הניצחון, חתומים בלב ישראל לדור דור.
המשמר יעבור לנוח, מאוד נוח. המשמר יעבור לדום. משמר, דום. המשמר יחטיף את נשקו. החטף, שק. המשמר יפנה לימין. ימינה, נה. משמר, קדימה, צד. שמאל, ימין, שמאל. 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 שמאל, ימין, שמאל.
You may now be seated. I would now like to invite Chairman of the Jewish Agency, Mr. Doron Almog.
Ben Mizrahi made Aliyah from Canada at the age of 18. Later, he enlisted in the IDF as a lone soldier, serving as a combat medic in Battalion 101, a battalion of the Paratroop Brigade. On Shabbat, the 7th of October, Ben was with his friends at the Nova Nature Party near Kibbutz Re'im at the onset of the terrorist attack, when party participants attempted to flee and escape as quickly as possible, Ben chose to stay, to care for the wounded. Once a medic, always a medic. Ben broke the window of an ambulance parked nearby, grabbed a first aid kit, and began administering aid to as many wounded as possible. Ben paid the ultimate price for his heroism. Ben was shot and killed by the terrorist. Ben Mizrahi's heroism is a testimony to the fighting spirit that characterized lone soldiers serving in the IDF. And like Ben, so two other victims from Masa, Rose, Omer, and Dennis, who with profound commitment tied their fate and future to the state of Israel and were willing to pay with their lives. The spirit which each and every one of us encountered in the last war is apparent time and time again in every campaign throughout the history of the State of Israel. It is the spirit of all-encompassing solidarity, a spirit of shared destiny that touched all sons and daughters of the Jewish people. The same spirit beat in the hearts of our glorious, heroic sister Caracal tank soldiers who on that horrifying Shabbat fought for 17 hours straight against Hamas terrorists attempting to infiltrate Kibbutz Sufa. Those 7 heroines prevented a massacre at Kibbutz, and just as they fought in that Jewish battle, so that hundreds more soldiers and commanders in regular service and reserves bravely fought together with combat doctors who battled to save lives while under fire. My dear friends, with the outbreak of the war, we all saw the beautiful face of Masa and the values that characterize program participants. We saw the beautiful face of the young generation, a generation which picked up and carried the awful failure of Shabbat Simchat Torah upon its shoulders. Thousands of Masa program participants choose to take part in volunteer activities, in education with evacuee children, in agriculture, cooking for soldiers, and even donating blood. You brought forth a ray of light that glowed from within the shock and immense pain. With much consolation and hope, you shined forth to thousands of Israelis. You, the youth, symbolize the future, the hope, and most of all, the victory. Our mission has not ended. In the spirit of those same values of giving and mutual responsibility, we must encourage Jewish youth throughout the world to join the Masa program, the Garin Tzabar program, pre-military academies, and other programs that fortify our strengths, each in its own way, as a nation and as individuals. We owe ourselves that obligation, and more importantly, today, it is our responsibility to those who fell. From here, we raise our voices in prayer, prayer that emanates from the depths of our hearts for the release of all hostages still held by Hamas, trapped in such horrific darkness for so many days. Among them, Andrei Kursolov, a Masa program graduate. Let us remember the fallen of all wars with respect, longing, and gratitude, and may we do all in our power to be worthy of their sacrifice. May the heroism and the way of life of those who fell be potent source of inspiration for all Jewish youth throughout the world. May their memories be for a blessing. Thank you.
I would now like to invite Acting CEO of Masa, Yael Sahar Rubinstein.
Dear Jewish Agency, Keren HaYesod, Jewish Federations of North America, and our government representatives, Masa Fellows, and alum. And of course, our bereaved families joining us this evening. 30 years ago, when I was 9 years old, my family lost my cousin, my big cousin, Guy Sodei, who fell in combat in Hezbollah in Lebanon. The pain was overwhelming and is still. Our family was forever changed since that day. 30 years later today, we are still fighting to protect our land, the Jewish state of Israel. So much has changed, and yet so much is still the same. Being Jewish has never been easy. There are moments in history when our fundamental existence is under attack, much like our current reality. October 7th, the largest massacre of the Jews since the Holocaust, changed our world. The chaos of that horrific day continues to echo, leaving us grappling with its aftermath. The war still raging in full force and loved ones held hostage. Among the hostages is one of our own. Masa alum Andrei Kozlov, who graduated Masa career a year and a half ago. His capture from the Nova Festival brings the conflict closer to our hearts. We pray for his safe return together with all the remaining hostages. This year, Jews in Israel and in Jewish communities around the world feel we are a part of a greater story, a story unfolding as we speak. To those of us here in Israel and to those watching from afar, to those who came to volunteer or those organizing donations, to those serving in the IDF or advocating for Israel globally, our mission is unified: to forge a stronger Israel and bolster Jewish communities worldwide for ourselves and future generations. This year, more than ever before, Yom HaZikaron is hard and is touching a lot of people. The comfort is that we are all here together. Masa Fellows, you have chosen to come to Israel during this most challenging time to be with us. This is our source of strength. Our joint reality has been proven. We are one. To the bereaved families, I am deeply grateful for your presence at this ceremony. Your sacrifices are immeasurable, and it's with profound respect and honor that we share these stories of your loved ones, who are not only the heroes of all Israel, but the heroes of the Jewish people. May the memory of all who have fallen be a blessing, and may we always cherish the world they left behind. As we part today, let us carry this collective message. Though we face these trying times, together we will overcome them, as we always have. United, we will not falter. United, we will prevail. Am Yisrael Chai. Yehi Zichram Baruch.
Seven months ago, the IDF launched the Iron Swords War. Here unfolds the stories of 3 courageous Masa alumni who made the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our homeland. Their valor serves as an important reminder that regardless of our location or the battles we face, we stand united as one people, as one nation. Together, we are one.
מיוחד, פשוט מיוחד, אבל הוא היה מיוחד עם העיניים שלו הטובות, עם החיוך, מהיום שהוא נולד. זה משהו הרבה מעלינו. אנחנו פשוט לא מבינים מה אלוהים נתן לנו בילד הזה.
To grow up in the States, it was just doing brother stuff, hanging out always together, playing soccer, playing basketball, just doing little and big brother stuff.
למדנו באותו בית ספר יהודי, אז כאילו הכל חווינו די ביחד. יש לו אהבת הארץ מטורפת. בבית ספר מאוד היה חשוב לו להעלות את המודעות על ישראל ועל היהדות וזה.
Because he went to a Jewish school and my sister went to the army, and he wanted, and he told my dad he wanted to be like my sister and go and do combat in the IDF in Israel. All of his friends in the Jewish school, the rest went to college and the university in the States, and he was the only one in his grade that did Aliyah to the IDF, and it was very important to him.
טיול שהוא חלום, והרגשנו ממש ברי מזל, ותמיד אמרנו שיש לנו אחד את השני, שאנחנו יכולים ככה ליהנות מהחיים.
אנחנו חזרנו לארץ, ביום שבת הוא האמת העיר אותנו בבוקר, ואמר לי, אבא, אתה רואה מה קורה? מה קורה בארץ? ראינו את הסיוט הזה.
מטח טילים ורקטות שנורה לשטח ישראל.
חזרנו ב-14, וב-16 אייל לקח אותו לצפון.
ושהורדתי באותו בצפון, לא יודע, זה היה מין חיבוק כזה של... אני לא יכול להסביר את זה, זה משהו מאוד חזק.
ואז ב-6 בבוקר הוא רשם לאייל, Love you, אני יוצא. איזה אמא חושבת שיכול לקרות משהו? הוא רק הלך, והוא רק בצפון.
כל הזמן אמרנו לו, רק אל תתנדב להיות ראשון כל הזמן, וזה בדיוק מה שקרה, והוא היה הראשון.
אחרי ארוחת שישי ראיתי נ"ט בנטועה, ובאמת פשוט השתגעתי. ואז אני לא אשכח את זה. אודליה שלחת לי הודעה באיזה 9 בלילה, שנפל טיל נ"ט בצפון, באזור שלו, שהוא לא עונה ומה קורה לו, ואמרתי לו, נראה לכם משוגעת, יש מיליון חיילים, דווקא אומר, כאילו, זה לא הגיוני. ואז ב-12 דפקו לנו על הדלת.
אמרתי לה, סיגי, אל תקומי, אני יודע מי אלה, זה הצבא.
קשה, מאוד, אבל תודה לאל, יש לי חברים טובים ומשפחה, ולפעמים זה כאילו לא מספיק, לפעמים אתה אומר לא, אבל עומר היה הכל. הוא היה הכל בשבילי.
אתה מבין, אבל זה לא נופל. זה רק נופל בתקופה האחרונה. שאתה מסתובב בבית והוא לא... כאילו, הוא לא נמצא.
הוא היה חבר לשיחות בכל דבר. בכל... איפה שאתה זז, אתה רואה אותו.
הלוגו שלו אומר זה be kind. רק תהיה בן אדם טוב, כי זה מה שהוא היה. הוא לא צריך שום דבר. והתחלנו עם זה עם סטיקרס, ועם חולצות, ועם שלטים. רק be kind כתוב על השלט, ולאט לאט תדע שזה קשור רק לעומר. זה הוא. ומפה אני רוצה שיהיה המשך.
כשדניס עלה לארץ, אני יודעת בוודאות, אני ראיתי את זה ממש בעיניים שלי, שהוא היה הרבה יותר שמח והוא ממש נהנה מכל רגע, והאהבה שלו לישראל גדלה ממש מיום ליום, מהרגע שהוא הגיע.
הצטרף לתוכנית מסע אקסטרים. עשו שם הרבה ספורט, הרבה פעילויות, לימודים גם. כשפגשנו אותו בניצנה, אז הוא היה מאוד מורל כזה, עם הרבה התלהבות. לא יודע, היה בו איזה כוח כזה שכל הזמן משך אותו, וגם סחב אחריו אנשים אחרים.
Buongiorno, доброе утро. Мы ведем репортаж с Джайро де ישראל.
הוא תמיד היה שאף להכי גבוה, להשיג כל פסגה, ולאחר מכן עוד פסגה ועוד פסגה. אז נהיה קצין קרבי ביחידת יהלום.
אתה שומע בן אדם שהוא מאושר ממה שהוא עושה, שהוא כל כך, הוא מבין את המשמעות של מה שהוא עושה, שהיא כל כך גדולה, והפעילות שהוא עושה היא כל כך רבה, שזה, הוא קורן. כאילו, אתה שומע על זה באיך שהוא מדבר, ועשינו פה, ועשינו שם, ואחר כך הלכנו וכבשנו וחזרנו ופוצצנו
פשטנו עם שייטים על מעגנה, מצאנו איזו מנהרה מטורפת מתחת למסגד, פיצצנו בניינים.
ממש כשהתחילה המלחמה באוקראינה, הוא שלח לנו הודעה בקבוצה של הצוות מסלול שלנו, אם אנחנו יכולים לעזור בלארגן ח' ת' א', כי הוא רוצה לשלוח את זה לשם, בסוף זה לא יצא לפועל. אני שואל אותו, דניס, למה לא טסת לאוקראינה? ואז הוא פשוט מסתכל עליי ואומר לי, יש מדינה אחת שאני מוכן לעמוד בשבילה.
הצוות שלו קיבל את המשימה למלכד את כל האזור הזה ולפוצץ אותו.
וכאן לוחמי יהלום נערכים לפוצץ את המנהרה הזאת, את כל התוואי התת-קרקעי והמפעל העצום מתחת לאדמה.
זאת הייתה המשימה שלו, זו הייתה משימת חיים שלו. היחידה הזאת לא ידעה דברים כאלה לפניו. הוא היה בעננים, זה היה היום שלו.
אולם מסיבה שעדיין נבדקת בצה"ל, משאית עם חומרי הנפץ התפוצצה והמתחם עלה באש. מעוצמת הפיצוץ נהרגו 6 לוחמים, 8 נפצעו, בהם 3 במצב קשה.
בשעה 1:20 בלילה, פתאום מתקשרת אמא של מרינה. אומרת, תפתחי את הדלת. ואז אני מגיע לדלת ואני רואה קצינים. אני הרגשתי כמו בחלום, לא הבנתי שזה משהו שיכול לקרות לנו.
פתאום אני מקבלת שיחה מאמא שלי ב-6 בבוקר. שאלתי אם זה קשור לדניס, ואז אמא אמרה שאין אותו יותר.
ברגע שהוא נהרג, אז ידעתי שאני לא... בן אדם שאתה פוגש פעם בחיים, אני לא אפגוש עוד בן אדם כזה.
אני לא מרגישה חוסר, אני ההפך מרגישה המון חיזוקים ממנו. אני יודעת שהוא מלווה אותי ועוזר לי
חסר בהכל. לדבר איתו, להתייעץ איתו על דברים, קבלת החלטות כאלה ואחרות בחיים.
יש איזה דיבור על קעקוע משותף, זה בהתהוות.
גם אם אין לי קעקוע עכשיו מצויר על האור, אבל משהו שהוא תמיד איזשהו נר לרגלינו.
היו לו תוכניות של נפוליאון. הוא בכלל רצה להגיע לחלל, רצה לכבוש את המאדים.
במסגרת העבודה שלי בטכניון ובתעשייה האווירית, שם אנחנו בונים לוויין עם סטודנטים. שמעתי את הסיפור של דניס, שנהרג בעזה, וחלם להתחיל ללמוד בטכניון בפקולטה לאווירונטיקה וחלל, ממש בימים שהתחילה המלחמה. ואז עלה הרעיון להקדיש את פרויקט הלוויין לזכרו של דניס.
בן אדם שמסתכל ואומר, וואלה, זה דניס היה רוצה ככה לעשות, זה, יש לי איזו השראה, אני מחר יוצא למשימה הזאת כי זה, ככה הוא היה עושה את זה.
דניס פשוט באמת היה אגדה, לא בן אדם רגיל בקיצור, אתה לא תראה עוד כאלה.
She used to go to the playground and tell her friends, we can be friends now, but when I turn 18, I'm gonna move to Israel.
We understood Rose's love of Israel in a way that it was a part of her. It's almost like, you know, a person has to, you know, wear glasses, or a person has to, you know, have certain things around them to help them through life.
When Rose was 5, her dad's father took her to Israel, and she refused to go home after that. She decided this is where she wanted to be. We had to promise her that we would send her back to Israel in order for her to come home.
נכנסת בחורה עם שיער כחול, ואנחנו לרגע ראשון ככה אומרים וואו, מה זה כל הצבעוניות הזאת?
Morning, y'all. I got fresh hair for my new beginning.
ושתי דקות אחרי זה, היא כאילו חלק מהבית. היא משתחלת פנימה, וזה מדהים, והלב מתרחב לעוד ילד.
I met Rose for the first time in the summer of 2021. It was a seminar, the first seminar in which we met the group to decide which of them would be a good fit for us.
She was very talented. I have songs you could hear her sing. She would give you chills. She could have been on Broadway. She could have been an actress in Hollywood. She really could have done anything. Hashem literally gave her, what do you want to do with your life? And it's going to be something big. Joining the army gave her direction, and it was exactly what she wanted to do. She said there was no other place she would rather be.
I just wanted to show you my official uniform.
She felt like a part of her had been filled, and she expressed to me, to her mother, to her siblings, is that this is what she was meant to do and this is what she was supposed to be doing.
Rose, being Mu'elet Magav, she put on her full uniform. She got out dressed fully.
אני יכול להגיד לך היום בוודאות, שאם היה איזשהו ניסיון חדירה לסעד, בלי כיתת הכוננות ובלי רוז, היו יכולים ליפול לסעד, והמצב היה קשה.
2 weeks after October 7th, my sister calls me up and she said, David, did you know that they're calling Rose Hero Rose?
Generations dreamed to arrive to Jerusalem, and we have the honor to protect her. It's our duty to watch over the Jews who are living the dream of walking to the Kotel on Shabbat.
20-year-old Rose Lubin was serving with the Israel Defense Force when she was stabbed Monday in Jerusalem.
This is the final known video of Lubin. Just 3 days after her cousin filmed it, she was killed Monday while on duty in the old city of Jerusalem.
I got a call in the morning saying our Rose was hurt. Call up her commander. She will give you the information. She's in the hospital with her. Her first words were, "It's too late. we've lost Rose. A couple of days before she passed, I asked her, "Are you okay?" And she said, "I try to be in good spirits every day." And that was Rose. She always tries to be in good spirits.
I wish nothing but the best for you too. Don't forget me, I beg. I remember you say sometimes it lasts enough, sometimes it hurts instead. Did I disappoint you or let you down? Should I be feeling guilty or let the judges frown?
'Cause I saw the end before we'd begun. Yes, I saw you were blinded and I knew I had won.
So I took what's mine by eternal right. Took your soul out into the night.
It may be over, but it won't stop there. I am here for you if you'd only care.
You touched my heart, you touched my soul, changed my life and all my goals. And love is blind, and that I knew, and my heart was blinded by you.
You have kissed your lips and had your head, shared your dreams and shed your bed. I know you well, I know your smells. I've been addicted to you.
Goodbye, my lover.
Bye, my friend. You have been the one. You have been the one for me. Goodbye, my lover.
Goodbye, my friend.
You have been the one. You have been the one for me.
Hey, mon amour, how are you? I'm doing fine. When this is all over, we'll get married and have 4 beautiful kids, just like you.
Hey, my love, how's it going? How are you holding up? Remember that dream trip we've been talking about? Let's do it this summer. Please keep safe. I miss you a lot.
Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friend. You have been the one. You have been the one for me. Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friend. You have been the one. You have been the one for me.
And I still hold your hand in mine when I'm asleep.
And I will bear my soul in time when I'm kneeling at your feet.
I would now like to invite Minister of Strategic Affairs, Ron Dermer.
Mickey Marcus, 1948. Yosef Fellows, 1967. Yehuda Pakola, 1973. Roberto Lissman, 1982. Michael Levin, 2006. Max Steinberg, 2014. Eliyahu Elmakayas, 2024. These are the names of 7 lone soldiers who fell in the wars of Israel. They came from nations across the world: America, Argentina, Morocco, France, Australia. But like so many others, they left their country, birthplace, and home for the same reason: to defend the Jewish state and secure the Jewish future. We owe them an eternal debt of gratitude, as we do all who died serving the state of Israel, whether they were Jews or Druze, Christian or Muslim, Bedouin or Circassian, or any other faith or identity. And it is about gratitude which I wish to say a few words tonight. Gratitude is literally what it means to be a Jew, but it is one of the most difficult virtues for our people to master. We usually focus on what we lack and rarely appreciate what we have. An attitude that it's never good enough is surely what makes us strive to achieve and change the world. But we must also always strive to be grateful. That is especially true on this Yom HaZikaron, the first we mark since that dark day of October 7th. It is hard to feel gratitude after the Jewish people suffered the worst attack since the Holocaust, when 132 people are held hostage by terrorists in Gaza, and as anti-Semitism sweeps across the globe. But it is precisely in the wake of October 7th, as Israel wages a fierce war against our enemies, that we should be most grateful. We don't feel this way because the Holocaust was so immense in scale and has been so seared into our collective consciousness that we have forgotten what life was like for the Jewish people before the Shoah. We have forgotten anti-Semites like Bohdan Khmelnytsky, the Ukrainian Cossack who murdered tens, if not hundreds of thousands of Jews in the middle of the 17th century. We have forgotten that Jews endured 20 centuries of massacres and pogroms, and many exacting an even more horrific toll than we endured on October 7th. Alexandria, Fez, and Marrakesh, Worms, Mainz, and York, Lisbon, Toledo, and Barcelona, Kiev, Kishinev, and Proskurov. The list of cities where Jews were murdered in mass goes on and on. But in the half-century after the Holocaust, Jew hatred in the civilized world was largely pushed underground. Many hoped this would become a new normal in which Jews would finally be accepted among the nations. But the sad truth is that the post-Holocaust period was the exception, and Jew hatred is reverting back to its pre-Holocaust norm. Hatred of Jews is often masked behind hatred of the Jewish state, but the wild attacks are all too familiar. The hysterical and near universal rush to judgment against Israel, the demonization of the Jewish state as an enemy of humanity, and the fabrication of modern blood libels like apartheid and genocide. Anti-Semitism had been steadily boiling over for 2 decades, and on October 7th, a volcano of Jew hatred erupted. We saw it in the horrific videos that were brazenly uploaded by Hamas. We heard it in the fanatic calls to gas the Jews in Sydney, Australia, and the chants of From the River to the Sea in Dearborn, Michigan. We read it in the ecstatic tweets from ivory towers when Jewish blood was spilled, Jewish women were raped, and Jewish babies were burned. So why, ladies and gentlemen, do I think we should be grateful in the wake of October 7th? Because today, the Jewish people have the power to fight back. Because for the first time in 2,000 years, we don't beg others to defend us, we defend ourselves. That is why on this Yom HaZikaron, we should be especially grateful. That is why on this Yom HaZikaron, we should be especially grateful for how blessed we are to live at a time when we have been transformed from a stateless, powerless, and downtrodden people into a sovereign, powerful, and proud nation. And no amount of international pressure will prevent us from defending ourselves and securing our future. To all the bereaved families who are here today and who are joining us from around the world, to the mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, husbands and wives, and to all the relatives of the fallen, you mourn your loved ones each and every day. But I hope that on this sacred day, you take some comfort in knowing that an entire nation mourns with you. We mourn the victims of terror who were murdered because the Jews have a state. We mourn the brave soldiers who fell because they defended that state. And as someone who immigrated to Israel a quarter century ago, and who today is privileged to serve as an Israeli minister, I especially mourn the lone soldiers who fell defending this country. After linking their individual destiny to ours, those lone soldiers will now always be linked to the collective destiny of Israel. We are one forever. Tonight, an eternal nation bows its head in eternal gratitude to these modern-day Maccabees who made the ultimate sacrifice to enable the miracle of Israel. Yehi Zichram Baruch.
I would now like to invite Cabinet Secretary Mr. Yossi Fuchs.
Dear bereaved families, Masa participants, and honored guests. Last week, we held the Holocaust Memorial Day. My father was a student in Yeshivat Netzach Israel, established by the Holocaust survivor, the late Rabbi Israel Ze'ev Gustman, first in the United States, and after which he made Aliyah and relocated the yeshiva to Israel. Rabbi Gustman's son, Meirke, was murdered in front of his eyes by the Nazis. He escaped and joined the partisans. Years later, during the First Lebanon War, in 1982, Rabbi Gustman paid his respect to Professor Uman on the loss of his son, Shloimeh, in the war. In Rabbi Gustman's words, he said to him, "In heaven, our sons are having a conversation. My son Meirke is telling your son Shloimeh as follows: I was not blessed with the privilege of sacrificing my life like you had to fight for our homeland and save Jewish lives. The privilege that Rabbi Guzman mentioned reminds us of the 144 brave Holocaust survivors, last of their families, that fell during the Independence War in 1948, some of them not far from here in the Latrun battle. And even though they remained nameless, they died as heroes. Honored guests, the eternal existence of the State of Israel and the IDF's forces guarantees us the power to defend our lives and land. While in the world we are witnessing the outrageous and concerning events of anti-Semitism and pro-Hamas protests in the streets and in campuses, I am sure that you, all of you, the Masa participants and volunteers who witnessed the scale of atrocities that occurred on October 7th, would be the best influencers in your communities all over the world. So I swear to you on this holy day, our fallen did not fall in vain. Bezrat Hashem, God willing, we will return our hostages, we will win this war, and we will keep defending Israel. Thank you.
I would now like to invite Rebecca Caspi, Senior Vice President, Israel and Overseas of the Jewish Federations of North America.
Each year, we gather on this difficult day to remember those who have fallen in defense of the State of Israel. But this Yom HaZikaron is like no other. This year, we also honor hundreds of civilians, men, women, and children murdered by terrorists. We remember these innocent victims along with members of the security services and the IDF who have fallen. And we do so in the shadow of the worst anti-Semitism since the Holocaust. We remember them all, even as we work and pray for the safe return of all those held hostage in Gaza. Representing the Jewish Federations of North America and 400 Jewish communities in the United States and Canada, I stand here this evening shoulder to shoulder with all Israelis and the entire global Jewish community in strength and solidarity. We weep and we mourn together with the victims and the citizens of Israel as one family. I look out at all of you, thousands of Masa participants from around the world who have chosen to be here now. A moment when anti-Semitism hangs over your families and friends at home, and a time of war when so many young Israelis, like you, have been called upon to defend the Jewish state. I hope that the time you spend now in Israel will strengthen and fortify all of you, even as these difficult days teach us about responsibility and even sacrifice. Yom HaZikaron is a moment when we stop and reflect on what it can mean to live in the Jewish homeland. We salute the brave soldiers of the IDF and the Israeli security services who defend the State of Israel, and by extension, the entire Jewish people at this moment and every day. And we bow our heads in memory of the fallen, including Dr. Daniel Levy, Sergeant Major Omer Balva, and Second Sergeant Rose Ida Lubin, and all those who gave their lives in this sacred mission, including thousands from Jewish communities all around the world. North American Jewry owes them a debt of gratitude that can never be repaid. May the memory of the fallen be a blessing. Yeh Zichram Baruch.
The war in Israel has cast a shadow of tension and uncertainty across Jewish communities worldwide, resonating especially on college campuses in North America. To all Jewish students and faculty around the world, we see you, we hear you, and we stand beside you. Your unwavering dedication is not only inspiring, but also reflective of resiliency felt throughout the streets of Israel. When one Jewish community is attacked, we feel its ripple effect throughout the diaspora. On July 18, 1994, a Lebanese suicide bomber set off a bomb in a car at the Jewish community building Amia in Buenos Aires, Argentina, killing 85 people and injuring 330. This coming July will mark 30 years since these attacks occurred.
Igual que en la embajada de Israel, una bomba estalló en una dependencia de la comunidad judía. Están retirando chicos ensangrentados, mujeres, niños. Quedó destruido, piden ambulancias. Hay gente destrozada. Todos los edificios en la cuadra destruidos. La tragedia en Buenos Aires se vuelve a repetir.
En el año 1994 yo me desarrollaba como director administrativo. AMIA es una organización creada en el año 1894. Estamos cumpliendo este año 130 años y es lo que denominamos aquí una entidad central, una entidad paraguas, una entidad que se ocupa de todo el ciclo de vida judío, desde el nacimiento hasta el fallecimiento.
AMIA זה גוף סיעודי, זה גוף שרק עושה טוב לאנשים. קהילות היהודיות הן מאוד חזקות, צמחו. בואנוס איירס יש לך בתי כנסת מחב"ד, ספרדים, מסורתיים, בתי ספר, מועדונים, אנשים מאוד מאוד מבוססים. יחד עם זה הם חיים בתחושה של אנטישמיות מתמדת.
Al momento de la explosión, lo primero que recuerdo es un estremecimiento del piso, la imposibilidad de mantenerse de pie, trastabillar, casi caernos los dos, un fuerte olor muy penetrante y la imposibilidad de ver lo que estaba al lado, es decir, una nube de polvo muy grande que nos nublaba la vista.
La búsqueda por 7 días, recién el sábado, apareció el cuerpo de mi hermana, así que pasamos una semana trágica y de ahí cambió la vida para siempre.
אני זוכר את התקופה אז, שזה קרה, כי אני ברזילאי במקור, עליתי לארץ בגיל 17, אבל אני ברזילאי. כל הילדות שלי, כל ההתבגרות שלי, הייתי מעורב בתנועות נוער, ציוניות, והיו הרבה חברים שמשותפים, היינו עושים סמינרים, אתה יודע, לכל אמריקה לטינית, ואני זוכר שזה הלם טוטלי.
El atentado en un primer momento, por supuesto que la debilitó a la comunidad. Generó temor, generó la necesidad de proveernos de seguridad, pero demostró al final que la comunidad es una comunidad resiliente, tiene claros sus objetivos y que está ligada con su historia y está ligada también con sus objetivos que son el bienestar de la comunidad. En mi caso en particular, el atentado es un hito en mi vida, digamos, así como uno va recorriendo para atrás diferentes momentos de su vida, para mí es un momento bisagra que generó una cantidad de cambios. Tomo la decisión que no tenía la seguridad en ese momento de dedicar mi tarea profesional a la comunidad judía.
ב-2016, כשנכנסתי לתפקיד, פחות או יותר באותה תקופה התחדשה החקירה של הפיגוע. זאת אומרת, אתה ראית שההתייחסות לחקירה, בגלל כל מיני סיבות פוליטיות שהיו, זה לא ממש התנהל. התחושה שלי כנציג מדינת ישראל במקום, זו תחושה מאוד מאוד לא נעימה. כואב כשאתה רואה שנהרגו שם המון אנשים. אני עד היום חושב על זה, אני מתרגש, ואף אחד לא שילם על זה.
Que ese país tuvo una participación central, que fue quien ideó, quien planificó y a través suyo quien ejecutó el atentado que costó la vida a más de 85 personas y a más de 300 y generó más de 300 heridos.
היו יהודים שבדחו מארגנטינה בתקופה הזאת, עלו לארץ, התיישבו בקיבוצים בדרום, ועכשיו ב7 לאוקטובר חלקם נרצחו. זה משאיר צלקת ומשאיר מין תחושה של ייאוש כזה, שאתה אומר, בוא'נה, יש מקום בעולם שיהודי יכול לחיות ולא לפחד, ולצערי אין כזה מקום בעולם היום.
Deseo para mi comunidad que en los años por venir que pueda encontrar las condiciones para su desarrollo, que pueda continuar luego la creatividad y que siga teniendo un sentido de inclusión, de participación, permitiendo que la comunidad judía en la Argentina se desarrolle y genere tantos o más logros como los que ha venido teniendo en más de 150 años de historia.
We stand together today in grief, but hopeful in our quest for justice and a peaceful future. Laying wreaths is our traditional way of publicly honoring those who have fallen. I would now like to call to the stage our wreath layers, accompanied by Masa Fellows. The wreath of the bereaved families will be laid by Levy and her children Emma and Liam, along with Adrian Funes, Masa Gap Program from Bolivia, and Natalia Chavez Behar, Masa Career Program from Peru. The wreath of the government of Israel will be laid by Ron Dermer, Minister of Strategic Affairs, along with Taryn Friedman, Masa Israel Teaching Fellow from South Africa, and Barak Goren, Masa Career Program from Jamaica. The wreath of the Jewish Agency for Israel will be laid by Amira Aronovitz, Director General, the Jewish Agency for Israel, and Bruce Shok, Chair of Budget and Finance, the Jewish Agency for Israel, Board of Governors, along with Hannah Cohen, Masa Career Program from United Kingdom, and Maria Stulman, Masa Doctors from Belarus. The wreath of the Knesset will be laid by Member of Knesset Yossi Taib and Member of Knesset Brigadier General in the Reserves Sharon Neal, along with Jamie Zusman, Masa Israel Teaching Fellow from the United States, and Max Groenteman, Masa Tech from the Netherlands. The wreath of Masa Israel Journey will be laid by Josh Schwartz, Chair, Masa Board of Directors, and Dr. Ruti Kainan, Board Member, along with Rafi Snow, Masa Volunteer from the United States, and Mayan Perez, Masa Gap Program from France. The wreath of the Jewish Federations of North America, JFNA, will be laid by Heather Adelson, Campaign Chair, Federation CJA, the Montreal Jewish Community, and Kevin Luskin, Mission Chair, the Associated Jewish Federation of Baltimore, along with Kevin Luskin, Mission Chair, the Associated Jewish Federation of Baltimore, and Sophia Isais Day, Masa Gap Program, the United States. The wreath of Keren HaYesod will be laid by Lina Kabli, President of Keren HaYesod Mexico, and Andrew Boyarsky, immediate past President KHUIA NSW Sydney, along with Tiago Furman, Masa Gap Program from Uruguay, and Jude Goldfard, Masa Gap Program from Australia. Thank you to our wreath layers. The traditional Kaddish prayer will now be read by Eyal Balva in memory of his son Omer Balva. May his memory be a blessing. We invite you to stand for the reading of Kaddish and remain standing for the El Ma'aleh Rechamim following.
יתגדל ויתקדש שם רבה. בעלמא דיברה קירותה, וימליך מלכותה, ויצמח פורקנה, ויקרב משיחה. בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם, לעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה, שירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירה בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו וברחמיו, יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
As you remain standing, we would like to invite Daniel Koltov to lead us in El Ma'aleh Rechamim.
El Ma'aleh Rechamim שוכן במרומים המצא מנוחה נכונה על כנפי השכינה במעלות קדושים טהורים וגיבורים כזוהר הרקיע מאירים ומזהירים לנשמות חללי מערכות ישראל שנפלו במלחמות ישראל בפעולות הגנה, תגמול וביטחון, בעת מילוי תפקידם ובעת שירותם, ושחרפו נפשם למות על קדושת השם. ובעזרת אלוהי מערכות ישראל הביאו לתקומת האומה והמדינה ולגאולת הארץ ועיר האלוהים, ולכל אלה שנרצחו בארץ ומחוצה לה בידי מרצחים מארגוני הטרור. בעבור שאנו מתפללים לעילוי נשמותיהם, בגן עדן תהא מנוחתם. לכן בעל הרחמים יסתירם בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמותיהם. אדוני הוא נחלתם, וינוחו בשלום על משכבותם, ויעמדו לגורלם לקץ הימין, ונאמר אמן.
Please be seated. In the midst of what may be one of the most challenging years in Israel's history, the resilience and strength of our nation shines brightly. Tonight, as we gather to mourn and honor those who are no longer with us, we are reminded that we have a responsibility to continue creating a brighter future for all.
עוד יש מפרש לבן באופק מול ענן שחור כבד, כל שנבקש לא יהי.
ואם בחלונות הערב אור נרות החג רועד, כל שנבקש לו יהי. לו יהי, לו יהי, אנא לו יהי, כל שנבקש לו יהי.
לו יהי, לו יהי, אנא לו יהי, כל שנבקש לו יהי.
When the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer
there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer. Let it be. 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 There will be an answer. Let it be. 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 Whisper words of wisdom. Let it be.
בקול ענות אני שומע קול שופר וקול טובים, קול שנבקש לו יהי.
Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. 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 כל שנבקש, let it be. בתוך שכונה קטנה מוצלת, בית קט עם גג אדום, כל שנבקש לו יהי.
זה סוף הקיץ, סוף הדרך, תן להם לשוב הלום.
Bring them home.
This evening, and indeed every moment of the year, we honor the memory of those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, and their legacy remains etched in our hearts and memories forever. Amidst the challenges we are currently facing, and all challenges Israel may face in its future, the hope for our nation's freedom remains steadfast and bright. Please stand as we sing our national anthem, Hatikva. We've now concluded this year's ceremony. Thank you and Laila Tov. Good night.